All right, sixth graders, are you excited? It's almost time to graduate. Today will be class 3 in our Saving Earth lesson. And today's lesson will be renewable energy, hydro, and biomass. So let's get started. So if you remember from the past 2 weeks, we're talking about renewable energy. And today we're going to start with water energy or hydro energy. Here you see the pencil, so please write down hydro energy down in your notes.
请你把 hydro energy 写下来。
And as you write it down, again, let's repeat these 2 words, hydro energy.
Hydro energy.
Hydro means water. So any type of water that can create energy is called hydro energy. Here, I also want you to write down hydroelectric reservoir and dam. I know this is a little bit longer, so make sure you spell it correctly. And you see the picture of the water reservoir and also the dam that controls the water from the reservoir to the power generator that we will see in the next slide. All right, so here, this is an illustration of how hydro energy works with a reservoir and dam. So here is a reservoir behind the dam, and this is pumped into this facility, which spins the turbine, which creates more energy from the generator that's produced through the transformer and produces electricity for our homes. So what we want to do now is to say these words correctly with the proper pronunciation and tone. So here you see I've divided the syllables for you. So say high,
dro,
electric, hydroelectric, reservoir, and dam. All right, let's try and read this and say it together. Hydroelectric reservoir and dam.
Hydroelectric reservoir and dam.
Now, let's see how this works.
1.
People have been capturing the energy and moving water for thousands of years. And today, it's still a powerful resource that can generate clean, renewable, and affordable electricity. You see, we harness energy from flowing water and convert it to electricity. That's what we call hydroelectric power, or hydropower. Water flows from a higher elevation to a lower elevation, and a hydropower facility uses turbines and generators to convert this motion into electricity. America has been using hydropower to generate electricity for more than 100 years now. And today, about 7% of all our electricity is generated from hydropower, making it the largest source of renewable power. So, what makes hydropower renewable? It's simple. Water. Water evaporates into clouds and recycles back to Earth as precipitation. The water cycle is constantly recharging and can be used to produce electricity along the way. How does it work? Basically, there are several ways hydropower technologies can generate electricity. You may recognize dams, like this one. This technology is called an impoundment. The impoundment stores water in a reservoir. When the water is released, it flows through and spins a turbine, turning a generator that produces electricity. Here's another technology. This is a diversion. It channels a portion of a river through a canal or pipe into a turbine and generator system. What's cool about this method is that it uses the natural flow of the river and usually doesn't require a large dam. And have a look at this. This is called pumped storage hydropower. Basically, it works like a huge battery. To charge the battery, water is pumped back up into a reservoir during periods of low energy use, often during the night when people are using fewer appliances. Then, when people need more power during the day, the water can be released to produce electricity. As long as we've been capturing energy from water, you may think there's nothing new in hydropower technology. Think again. The Department of Energy is helping to upgrade older facilities by increasing the efficiency of the turbines and generators. Operators of neighboring hydropower facilities are also working together to optimize energy production across whole river systems instead of each dam working alone. And we can add generators or retrofit dams that were built without power, like dams used to water crops or prevent floods. Today, there are about 80,000 dams in the US, but less than 3% of these dams produce power. That means there's a big opportunity to generate more clean, renewable power at dams we've already built. New technology is also making hydropower even more environmentally friendly. For example, researchers are reducing adverse impacts on fish with fish-friendly turbines. And fish ladders, like these, let them swim around dams. Hydropower is an essential, reliable, and renewable source of clean energy with a rich history. And it's meeting substantial energy demands today. With new technologies, it will be even more efficient and have greater production capacity, powering US homes and businesses for centuries to come.
All right, I hope that video has shown you how the hydroelectric reservoir and dam works. Now, let's look at some positives and negatives, the pros and cons of hydro energy. So we see hydro energy is mainly used to generate electricity for appliances such as our refrigerators, our dishwashers, or our laundry machines. So what could be some pros or positives about hydro energy? Let's take a look. First, they are reliable, meaning that you can count on them to make energy in a limitless and it's limitless and also it doesn't disappear. So we say that it's reliable. It's also constant, meaning that it will continue to produce energy in a cycle, so we will never run out. So those are the positives or the pros of hydro energy. What are some cons or negative aspects of hydro energy? The main negative aspect of hydro energy is that it hurts our habitats, meaning that it could contribute to pollution, but mostly it endangers our plants, people, and animals. So let's take a look at what we can read from what we just learned. So you see there are 3 parts to this sentence. I want you to read it first and then read along with me. Hydro energy is always available.
Hydro energy is always available
For production,
but
but may hurt plants, people, and animals.
but may hurt plants, people, and animals.
All right, very good. So if you understand this sentence, you know both the positives and the negatives of hydro energy. All right, this should be a review. So you see this right now, but you'll see it also at the end of class. We will make this sheet a little bit later. Now let's move on. All right, so here we see renewable energy again. We talked about sun or solar energy, wind energy, and hydro energy. Now it's time for us to focus on biomass. Everybody read and say, but also write biomass energy.
Biomass Energy， 请你把 Biomass Energy 写下来。
What is biomass energy? Well, first we have to know what biomass is. Bio is from the word biology, which means living things. Mass is anything that takes up space. So we could think of biomass as living things that take up space. So what are these things that we're talking about? Well, some of the things that we use for biomass energy are garbage, wood, manure. Teacher Mark, what's manure? Manure is human waste, or put simply, what we like to call poop. Now, take a look at these two animations. This will help you understand it a little bit better. Let's start from the left. Here you see plant waste. So you see trees, corn. It's pushed by a bulldozer into a pile that's burned. The burning makes water that turns the generator that creates the electricity that we need. Now let's take a look at the right. Here we're going to look at animal waste. So here you see a cow pooing. The poop, the manure, is put into a container which it maturates or turns into bacteria. That is then burned. The steam spins the generator, which creates the electricity. So let's find out how biomass energy works.
Biomass, the original renewable energy. It's been part of our lives since our ancestors learned to control fire. In fact, it's made possible by the sun, whose energy is absorbed by trees and plants through photosynthesis, and then released when organic matter is burned or decomposes. First, there's plant waste. Wood scraps, sawdust, and crop waste can be collected from farms or manufacturers. The waste is burned to heat water. The hot water creates steam. The pressure of the steam spins a turbine. The turbine powers a generator. The generator creates electricity. Simple, really. Next up, animal waste, also known as the problem of cow poop. The solution? Waste from farm animals can be collected in a large tank called a digester, filled with bacteria that eats the waste and converts it to methane gas. The methane is captured and burned to heat water and create steam. Sound familiar? Second verse, same as the first. This same principle can also be used to capture methane, a potent greenhouse gas with 25 times the heat-trapping ability of carbon dioxide, from landfills. Once a section of the landfill is closed off, pipes are run from the waste to collect the gas, which can then be burned to make electricity or heat. Biomass may not be the prettiest form of renewable energy, and it needs to be used carefully and thoughtfully to protect ecosystems and prevent greenhouse gas emissions. But it can be a smart way to make use of waste. Power to the poop.
All right, class, I hope that video gives you a little bit more information about biomass energy. living things that take up space and gives people the energy that we need. And if you remember, it says, power to the poop. Now, let's move on. If you're getting dizzy, that's okay. But look over here, it says biomass is everywhere.
Biomass is everywhere.
So we see we get biomass from wood products, trees and plants, agricultural waste, animal waste, and others. And of course, some crops. So we could get biomass from pretty much anywhere we could find things that take up space. Now, let's watch a short video.
We all know that it takes a lot of fuel to keep our country running, right? Cars, trucks, planes, trains. What if we could develop a homegrown renewable source for those fuels? Well, good news, we already are. We can create clean, renewable transportation fuels from plants, trees, and a range of other organic materials. In other words, biomass. Okay, so biomass is organic material from forest thinnings and wastes, from crops grown to produce energy, and from other renewable energy sources like algae that can all be converted into fuels. Scientists and engineers are finding new ways to make biofuels that can take the place of conventional fuels, like gasoline, diesel, or jet fuel. Here's where biofuels have a great advantage. They can be made from leftovers or waste products. For example, non-edible biomass sources like wheat straw and corn cobs are often left over from agricultural production, and some can actually be used to create fuel. And in the near future, crops can be grown specifically for energy, like fast-growing trees and grasses. Right now, biorefineries with new technologies are being built to convert biomass into fuel, power, and even bioproducts, like plastics, soaps, and cosmetics. And many biofuels can be seamlessly integrated into existing vehicles and fueling systems for diesel, gasoline, and even jet engines. So, how does it work? Essentially, biomass solids are broken down and then refined into biofuels. There are a lot of ways to do this. Enzymes can be used to break down biomass into liquid sugars. Then microbes, like yeast, ferment those sugars into renewable fuel. Extreme heat can break down biomass too. When you take oxygen out of the mix, biomass is rapidly broken down to a biocrude oil that can be refined into biofuels. Add a little bit of oxygen to extreme heat, and biomass solids are converted to a gas, and that gas can be converted into biofuel. As technology develops, researchers at the U.S. Department of Energy and its national laboratories are working to make biofuels more efficient. Sustainable biomass resources, more effective enzymes, organisms, and catalysts all help to bring down the costs of producing biofuels. The end result is fuel you can use anywhere, or any way that you would use petroleum-based fuel. Homegrown biofuels, clean and renewable, and a big step forward for America's energy security.
All right, class, so I hope that video shows you some of the ways we could use biomass. It would be great if we could use it, harness its powers. Now, let's look at some pros and cons of biomass energy. So here you see it's mainly used for heating, electricity, and fuels. Fuels for cars, trains, ships, anything that needs fuel. Biomass energy can produce it. Now, let's look at some specific positives or pros of using biomass energy. One is that it uses renewables, meaning things that we don't need, but we produce a lot of, like crop waste or human waste or any kind of products that we don't need. And of course, that includes trash. Now, let's look at some of the negatives or cons of biomass energy. The first, and the most important, is air pollution. Because biomass needs to be burned, The burning of biomass creates a lot of air pollution that may contaminate our air, reducing the oxygen and the necessary components for us to breathe healthy air. The second is deforestation. Because biomass energy needs trees, a lot of countries are cutting down their forests to produce biomass energy. So of course, the elimination of trees may cause other problems on Earth. So here we see a sentence that we want to read together. Let's focus on this word, abundant. The word abundant means a lot of something. Okay, so you have abundant amount of something. And deforestation, I divided it into syllables for us. So let's practice abundant. Say abundant.
Abundant.
Deforestation.
Deforestation.
All right, let's read this sentence in two parts. Biomass energy is abundant.
Biomass energy is abundant,
But may increase air pollution and deforestation.
but may increase air pollution and deforestation.
All right, very good. So here you see biomass energy, and it's the same as before. So now we get to finish the last two parts of this lesson. So we want to write hydro, biomass, and of course, renewable, some of the pros and cons, and a collage for both of the two types of energy.
好，现在呢，要请你们完成这两个，一个是 hydro， 一个是 biomass， 请你们把这两个完成在你们的纸上。
All right, class. So you see, Teacher Michelle has helped us out here. So we want to fill in both sides using the two different types of energies that we talked about today. All right. I hope you guys will have a good week, and we'll talk in a few more days. See you later. Bye.
好，接下来呢，要请你们把这两个给完成。记得上方要写上 renewable， 还有要写上它是什么样的能源，什么样的发电，然后把它给完成在你的纸上。那笔记的部分呢，老师会再跟你们讲我们要怎么样的缴交。今天的课程到这边结束，我们下次再见，拜拜。